What if I told you that you could design and live the life that you want on your own terms? Would you do it? Would you take a leap into the unknown? Or would you settle for a life of limits, a life of safety but lacking true meaning? Zeph and Moses Blacksburg here, and I'm on a journey to help you ignite your inner passions, let go of your fears, and get more out of life. Will you join me and make this year your year of purpose? Welcome to the Year of Purpose podcast. I think back to right after graduating college when, it's a really tough time. We've got to apply for a job and there's all this pressure from our parents to make sure that we get a really good high-paying job. And I think that we were put under this false impression that you're raised to go to high school to get good grades so that you can go to college so that you can get good grades so that you can graduate and get a degree so that you can get a job. To what? Retire and die? And I think that we have this false impression of how life really could be lived. We're put into this bubble of what we should be doing and what our parents did and what is okay to do, and we're never really given that freedom to see what else is out there and what the possibilities are. So, I applied to jobs. I applied to 150 of them to be exact. And I remember it was like the last one. I saw it on Craigslist. It was this random posting one day. And as soon as I saw it, I knew it was mine. But 150 job applications in 2 weeks is absolutely insane. And never would I realize that entrepreneurship was even a possibility had I not taken this first job. I worked for the largest information marketing company in the entire world, running their video production studio. They taught over 100,000 business owners all over the world how to run their businesses better, how to be an entrepreneur, and they were all living their dream life. And then I got hit pretty hard. We had these strangers walk in one day, and they invited me into the conference room, and I realized that one of them was a lawyer and one of them was actually the new CIO for the company. And that was it. I got pink slipped. And your job can get pulled out from under you just like that and be gone, and never saw it coming. And I went straight on unemployment. I tried to just get my life in order, go to the gym, get a routine. And what I did from there was I applied to more jobs, and eventually Apple called me and they said, "We want you to work corporate retail." And I thought, great, having Apple on my resume would be amazing. My parents would be proud, because that's all any college graduate really wants to do, is make their parents proud. And I worked that job for about 1.5 years until one day that I remember clearer than ever was the day that I decided to quit. So customers come in to tell you that something's wrong. They never really come in to say, "Oh my gosh, I love this." Your job is to put a smile on their face and to fix stuff, right? And so people come in pretty upset sometimes. And one day a lady comes in and starts causing a huge scene in front of probably 200 people. And while she's yelling and screaming at me, I'm kind of tuning out at this point because, I'm used to it. This is like a daily occurrence. And I see a mentor actually behind her in the distance, one of my mentors, who is a very successful business owner and someone who I've actually freelanced work for in the past. So he's also a client of mine. And I'm extremely embarrassed. Unfortunately, he came over to me after the fact, after the woman was escorted out by security. And so he asked me if he could take me to dinner. And I got caught off guard, but I said, yeah, I'm off at 5, 6, whenever it is, come on back and we'll grab dinner. And it takes me out to a really fancy place, and I'm trying to figure out how I'm gonna pay for this, because obviously, he was a mentor of mine, he's doing me a favor. It would only be right that I pay for both his and my meal at a fancy steakhouse that, I wasn't eating that nice. I had a $30,000 a year salary. And he asked the bartender for a napkin. And these little tiny bar napkins, and he draws a ladder on it with 12 notches, and he says, "Here's 0. And he asks me, "What do you make?" And I say, $30,000, and he puts that at the top. He said, "Okay, pull out your phone, pull up the calculator." And we did the math, and he breaks it down and says, "This is how much you have to make every month." And then he breaks it down and he says, this is how much you have to make every day if you just work 5 days a week. And the number was crazy. It came down to like $83 or something like that to replace my salary. And I didn't know at the time, he was just kind of breaking down these numbers. And ultimately he says, you're gonna quit your job. And this is how much you're going to make each day to replace your salary. And that was it. I walked in the next day, I quit, I opened up my business, I got an LLC, I got a lawyer, an accountant, everything, and I started ZMB Media. And I haven't looked back since, but what I learned from it was that it's okay to be great. It's okay to be great. It's okay to give yourself permission to be great and to do amazing things. The problem is we're stuck inside this bubble where we think we have to follow the mold of what our parents set forth for us, to the point where we don't even realize what's actually possible and out there. So I want you to keep in mind, when you're tired of what you're doing, when you don't know what's going on or you feel lost, remember, if you have a dream, it's okay to be great and to follow it. You've probably heard me talk about designing a life that you actually want to live. You might have even heard about my travels or experiences and thought to yourself, yeah, I do want to do that. Eventually, someday I'll probably do it, and my guess is that you've been thinking about doing it for a long time. So I want to tell you this: stop thinking. Your time is right now. You don't need any more time, you don't need any more info. You don't need to keep putting it off and planning for the perfect time, because the truth of the matter is this: you could be the person who sits around and thinks about living a better life, or you can be the person that decides that today is the day that you're going to actually do it, and I want that for you. Because you already have what it takes. You've got a fire inside. Even if you can't see it right now, it's lit, but you need to open yourself up to the possibilities and throw a couple logs into the flames. So join me and the Year of Purpose tribe by subscribing to our YouTube channel and iTunes podcast. And if you really like us, please leave a review. This is Zephan Moses Blacksburg, and I can't wait to see you again on the Year of Purpose podcast.